Thanks for watching this edition of the Fox 7 Austin Crime Watch digital exclusive. I'm Dave Froehlich, and we're taking a look at some of the crime stories that have made headlines recently in our area. A homicide in North Austin on August 4th was the latest in a string of Central Texas homicides. Police aren't sharing a lot of information, but we do know they're investigating 4 homicides and 1 suicide in less than a week's time. Here's more from Fox 7 Austin's Jenna King.
Sunday morning, officers were called to northbound I-35 frontage road near East Runberg Lane just before 2:40 a.m. for reports of a man with injuries. When APD and EMS arrived, they attempted life-saving measures, but the man was pronounced dead about an hour later.
It is just beginning. The investigation is being worked by our crime scene investigation unit as well as homicide. And we're trying to put the pieces together to find out exactly what happened.
The man's identity has not been released, but investigators say they are interviewing people who were with him that night. That case marking the 4th homicide in Central Texas in less than a week. On Saturday morning, a man with traumatic injuries was found near I-35 frontage road right by Austin Police Headquarters. He was taken to the hospital where he died. Investigators haven't said how he was injured or released his name. But Officer Townsend says detectives are reviewing surveillance video from cameras downtown and around APD headquarters.
I do know that they are looking at multiple angles and views of downtown cameras. As you know, there are a lot of downtown cameras here, both under I-35, over at our police headquarters, all around. So yes, that's definitely going to be reviewed. That's going to be part of the investigation.
On Tuesday, a delivery driver found 2 people dead inside an East Austin home. Police say 50-year-old John Nikowski was found with trauma to his body and a gun nearby. 42-year-old Kimberly Sullivan had multiple gunshot wounds. Investigators believe Nikowski shot Sullivan, then took his own life. The two had been in a long-term relationship.
Quite frankly, an abuser that has a gun in the home is 500 times more likely to kill their partner. Those are serious numbers and serious statistics. And so we need to pay attention to this. We also need to be good bystanders and upstanders.
Just hours later, Tuesday night around 7:15, police responded to a shooting in the parking lot of Robin Bledsoe Park in Leander. Investigators say an argument between 2 groups escalated, leading to multiple gunshots. 26-year-old Bodie Lindman was killed. 18-year-old Jonathan Raby was arrested for capital murder.
As far as the string of incidents we've had recently, most of them have been isolated incidents, situations that have happened between people who know each other. So there's not much we can give you on that. Those things just happen and we don't have a lot of control over that.
A weekend meant for celebration ended in tragedy when 5 young women were killed in a crash. That happened in Burnett County late last month. Fox 7 Austin's Meredith Aldis has that story.
Charred grass and shattered lives. 5 young women, Jackie Velazco, Desiree Cervantes, Brianna Valadez, Ruby Cruz, and Thalia Salinas, friends since middle school, were driving from Dallas to Kingsland. They were heading to a lake house to celebrate Thalia's 23rd birthday. Thalia's sister says the house was decorated. The girls were about 20 minutes away, but they never made it. Texas DPS says a Ram truck pulling a livestock trailer veered into oncoming traffic, hit a Chevy Malibu and a Mercedes SUV behind it. The girls were in the SUV as it flipped and burst into flames. All 5 died at the scene. Family members writing, "There's no words big enough for this kind of pain." Each girl remembered not just for who they were, but what they were becoming. Desiree was working at a law firm and recently got her own apartment. Her family says she had a sincere heart and quiet strength that made a lasting impression on so many. Jackie is described as a bright light, loving, strong, and funny. Ruby had an enthusiasm for life that brought everyone together. She loved concerts and sporting events. Brianna had plans to start nursing school. Her loved ones say she had a way of turning ordinary days into cherished memories simply by being herself. Thalia had just become a proud aunt. Her family says she was quiet, but those who knew her well, she was the funniest person in the room. Her sister says Thalia and Brianna were inseparable, and God knows they couldn't live without each other on this earth. 5 names now seen by the crash site to remember the 5 girls who were intertwined in life and now, heartbreakingly, in death. Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin News.
DOJ says a man from Leander has been sentenced to more than 3 years in prison for a scheme costing victims Total of $1 million. According to investigators, Nicholas Bonneville convinced his victims, at least 100 people, that he was a foreign exchange trader who would match investments dollar for dollar. He claimed returns on investments as high as 2,000%. But after looking at his bank records, investigators found he was using the money to cover his own expenses and pay back other victims. He was arrested in February, pleaded guilty in May. Bonneville's also been ordered to pay back more than $500,000 in restitution. Fox 7 Austin has obtained new video of an assault at Barton Springs. We spoke to an attorney about how likely a hate crime charge is, as APD's hate crime unit is looking into the case. Here's more on this story from Fox 7 Austin's Angela Shen.
APD says they're continuing to interview witnesses. No suspects have been identified yet. This video shows an assault by 3 men at Barton Springs last Saturday. You can see one victim falling to the ground after getting hit. According to witnesses, 2 women were harassed by 3 men. A third friend, a trans woman, joined the 2 women. We're told that those 3 men then became aggressive towards a trans woman with verbal attacks, poked them near their chest, and eventually shoved them violently.
Whenever we see these kinds of attacks, it's just really alarming and upsetting.
A Good Samaritan stepped in but was seriously hurt. The Good Samaritan's family has since started a GoFundMe to pay for surgery, saying the man had gashes to his head, a bleeding ear, broken jaw, and a concussion. The page has raised more than $68,000 as of Friday. His parents told me they're grateful for everyone who has helped with medical costs and for the person who posted about the attack because their son can't remember what happened. They add they're proud of their son for standing up for what's right. The case is being looked at by APD's Hate Crime Review Committee. They'll tell the DA's office what they find. Prosecutors will decide if they want to add a hate crime enhancement to the offense. That would make the punishment range go up. Gene Anthus, an attorney unaffiliated with the case, says the number of hate crime prosecutions in Texas is low.
That you have to show that the defendants intentionally committed these acts based on this bias or prejudice, and they've got to prove that beyond a reasonable doubt.
He says a prejudice finding could be more difficult because the Good Samaritan had more severe injuries and because of interpretation of the law.
In June of this year, the governor signed a bill that defines genders. And I think by virtue of the fact that he signed that bill, I think a court is likely to interpret that the term gender in the hate crime statute of the Code of Criminal Procedure only speaks to men or women.
As for the suspects,
Do better. You know, the trans community is not harming you, and we deserve to exist in peace and together.
and if you know anything about this case, you could get a reward of up to $1,000 for information that leads to an arrest. In downtown Austin, Angela Shen, Fox 7 Austin News.
Leander police say a teenager was arrested for a deadly shooting at Robin Bledsoe Park. 18-year-old Jonathan Raby was arrested on a warrant for capital murder. Investigators say 26-year-old Bodie Lindman was shot July 29th around 7 p.m. He was taken to the hospital but later died. The suspect left the scene before police got there. We're told Raby was found with help from the U.S. Marshals. So far, no word on what led to the shooting. If you have any information about what happened, you're asked to please call Leander Police. One local church recently found homophobic messages spray painted on its building. The church held a service responding to the damage and the messages of hate. Fox 7's Alec Nolan has more.
Pride Month is nationally recognized in June, but for Austin, August 1st marks the start of the celebration.
We experienced an act of violence at Life in the City.
But Life in the City, a United Methodist church that openly supports the LGBTQ+ community, experienced what they're calling an act of violence.
We cannot exhale a breath of peace while inhaling anxiety and hatred.
On Friday, church members found homophobic messages spray painted on their building and their Progress Pride flag destroyed.
This act of hate, we are going to choose to meet this with love. This is the way that we do at Life in the City.
In response, the church invited the community to join a cleanup effort while also installing a 24-hour Pride mural ahead of Sunday's service, which included some live renditions of Lady Gaga. Despite the vandalism, the church says the positive support from allies has given them hope for the future.
We're also feeling, some hope because we've heard from the wider community, our neighbors, our friends and allies, outpouring of support. And so that's been uplifting as well.
According to the church, a police report has been filed as life in the city tries to bounce back from the hateful messages.
Moving forward, this is not going to change who we are. We are going to continue to do the work of life in the city, which is to be radically inclusive.
San Marcos police are looking for a man who they say was hiding under a woman's bed. This happened near Aqua Springs Drive and I-35. The woman called police after finding him on July 31st around 11. He escaped when she left her apartment to report the intruder. So far, a description has not been released, but police are saying everyone should lock their doors, keep an eye on their surroundings, and obviously report anything suspicious. Well, more than 30 years later, the Austin yogurt shop murders still remain unsolved. 4 teenage girls were found dead in 1991. Now an Austin-based director is exploring one of the city's most infamous crimes in a documentary series for HBO. Fox 7 Austin's Meredith Aldis has more.
Jonesy?
Yeah.
You hear about the call 2900 West Anderson?
Yeah, I'm headed over there.
It was the night of December 6th, 1991.
One of our patrol officers called in to dispatch smoke coming out from, I can't believe it's yogurt. Fire department got here shortly thereafter. What we found in the back there was we found 4 victims.
They were all teens. Amy Ayers, Eliza Thomas, and sisters Sarah and Jennifer Harbison, found bound, gagged, and killed.
There's no stages to murder. Murder's murder. This one here, it's in the usual stuff we run into: family violence, drug deal gone bad. This is 4 girls here. They're dead or now dead.
It's a case that disrupted a city that was once seen as relatively safe.
It's just part of the sort of mythos of Austin.
Director Margaret Brown is revisiting the more than 30-year-old case through a documentary series called The Yogurt Shop Murders.
And I saw some of the archival footage, which was like sort of this like glimpse of the 90s that was super interesting, and like the big hair, and it just seemed like of a piece. Then I met the families and my approach kind of shifted because it was just so heartbreaking to meet them that I realized it couldn't just be sort of rooted in this sort of 90s nostalgia. It had to, there was something deeper there.
Utilizing decades-old tapes and recent interviews with investigators and family members, the series explores the lasting emotional impact.
And I think for people who are really into true crime, it's the craziest case ever. And for people that, for me, what kind of brought me through it was just what I learned about how people deal with trauma. And I think that is universal, and we all experience hard things. And this is a very extreme case of people going through hard things.
And the families of these girls are still left with questions. In 1999, Austin police charged 4 men with the crime. 2 of their convictions were overturned because of a mistake made by prosecutors and investigators, and 2 men were never tried. The case remains unsolved.
We worked with the cold case unit and talked a lot about, well, what can we use, what can we not use? Because I don't want to mess anything up.
Meredith Aldis, Fox 7 Austin News.
Thanks for watching, and remember, our Crime Watch stories run each Monday on Fox 7 Austin News. For more on the stories highlighted in this episode, you can head to our website, fox7austin.com, and click on the Crime Watch tab. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox 7 Austin YouTube channel and watch all of our content on our Fox Local apps. Those apps are free to download on your phone, as well as on connected TV apps like Roku and Apple TV.